Hello, everybody. Today, I wanted to talk about the worker shortage. So, right now, we have not enough workers in the US, and this is very hurtful for our economy. And the amount of young people who are reaching adulthood who want to work keeps shrinking. We have increasingly small amounts of young people and increasingly small amounts of young people who want to work. And I think I understand why this is happening. So there's several things going into it. First, there's no longer any security in the workforce. There was an idea that the government would have certain taxes that would end up helping the elderly. You would pay a tax, and then this would be collected in a sort of piggy bank, if you will, and then given to the uh, as a retirement to the old people. Then this cycle would go on and on, so there would always be a certain amount of money there. And but then the US government has spent this money, so the people who worked and paid their taxes don't have any money waiting for them now that they're reaching the age of retirement. It's a truly awful thing, and it truly is awful. Um, when I hear about the modern world, how even college graduates that have been working the same job, the same white collar job with their fancy degrees for 20 years, can't afford a home and struggle to afford an apartment, there is one thought going in my mind: goodbye, retirement. As a young person, you don't have the chance to retire. So for people like me, it really does just feel like, what's the point in trying at all? What's the point in attempting to get a good job? It's all worthless. Sometimes I've said in the past, a lot of my previous YouTube channels have been deleted, but I've said some highly controversial things. And my parents have told me that this is a terrible idea because I'm going to get canceled. They tell me, how are you going to get into college? How are you going to get a good job with stuff like that about you on social media? Controversial opinions. Um, and to that, I would say, what's the point in working for a normal job? So, on its own, the regular non 9 to 5 schedule doesn't sound super appealing to me. But if I was alive in the 50s at my age, I would have something to work for. I would get to live in a nice suburbs full of faces like mine with a nuclear family, a wife and children, and we would have our own whole house. We would have many children, and it would be a sweet, loving life. But with the growing wealth gap, the wealth gap is as bad as it was in the Gilded Age right now. No normal people can afford that lifestyle. You can't afford your own house, let alone one in nice suburbs. You can't afford to live in a single income household. You can't have a 10-person household with only one income that are able to have a nice life with one income between 10 people, because all the incomes are nothing. All the incomes are minuscule. So what's the point in trying at all? And it's all going to be, large amounts of this work I do will be taken away by the government, will be taxed away by the government I hate, the American government, will be taxed away by the country I hate, America. And in addition to that, there's also a philosophical reason for just not wanting to work. I remember hearing this famous story of this person talking about how in the Soviet Union, this person was fighting in war, and he was fighting alongside someone who he had met previously. Many years ago, that same person had interrogated him. This person was a political prisoner who was arrested and placed in Soviet gulags, and this person interrogated him. By that, I mean this person tortured him violently. But he was out there forming a relationship and acting like a brother to the person who had tortured him. He was willing to die for this man who had tortured him. Why? It's incomprehensible to the American mind, to the Western degenerate brain. This is because, unlike so many of us, people who do not follow the disgusting ideology of classical liberalism, instead choosing ideologies like religious extremism, fascism, or the communism of Stalin, Mao, or North Korea, aren't fighting for these selfish, materialistic, uh, secular, stupid things. Well, I'm going to go fight or I'm going to go work because this will make things a little bit better in the world. I'm going to go fight because this will make my life a little bit better. No. In fascism, it felt like you were part of one big family of an entire country fighting for a spectacular goal. In the Soviet Union, it felt like you were part of one big family fighting for a spectacular goal. In North Korea, it feels like you're one big family fighting for a spectacular goal. The Crusaders, as well as the jihadists of ISIS and the Taliban, even though they do not agree on religion, they also have the feeling of being one big family fighting for the same goal. They have true, deep, and meaningful religious beliefs or political beliefs that mean the world to them. Oh, well, how could someone do something if it would make them lose money? Why could you do this if it'll make you not get a job where you have to work to benefit a country that hates you? This is what makes people in these countries not commit suicide so much. Everyone in America and the Western Hemisphere in general is committing suicide. Everyone. And it's because they don't have this feeling that was previously mentioned. Well, I'm going to work really hard and do all of these things. And the idea is, well, I'm going to have certain experiences that will happen to me. Like, even though I'm going to work crazy hard and my work is going to take over my whole life, I'm going to get to have sex. I'm going to get to have a cool car. I'm going to get, most people won't have this, but I'm going to have a boat uh, and a cool house and great food and all of these things. But from those terms, think about all the things, all the negative things you'll experience. Watching your parents die, watching your grandparents die, watching your aunts and uncles die, watching dear friends die, and dying. There are people who've experienced both things, and no one has said that it would be worth having an amazing orgasm or having an amazing meal or anything like that for the death of their parents. Everyone knows that these are disproportional. So, by this awful, degenerate Western perspective, committing suicide is a logical idea. Why wouldn't you commit suicide? And this would be true 50 years ago, let alone now, where we have, again, wealth, where you can't have a nice lifestyle. And not to mention what was going on during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, there's one way to get people to care about things. There's one way to make it so not every young person in the world, in the West, is empathetic. Give them something to fight for. Fascism, communism, Islam, Christianity, Catholicism, uh, anything. Without this meaningful uh, ideology and just living in your uh, atheist, secular, liberal, degenerate filth that is the 21st century Western Hemisphere, you have nothing to fight for. Well, I know this is a pretty short one. I thought I would just do a quick little live stream to teach myself how to live stream. Maybe I'll do another live stream tomorrow. See you next time. Goodbye.